Been really thinking a lot about everything that's happened, and it's taken me a long time to get to where I feel healed enough to function and have a good life. You know, the thing is that what happened when I was a kid with Dad was that it wasn't something that was a prolonged one-time event. It was every day. I mean, I remember when I was 4, him doing it, when he was teaching me to tie my shoes. Sometimes he would just grab me by the arm and hold me there and unzip his pants and slap his penis on my face. He did that every day. And it got where I just, you know, that was my dad. He did what he wanted. Couldn't stop it. He knew I didn't like it. And he hid it from everybody. Mom would leave me there with him. She knew what he was capable of. She got everything she wanted from him. Because she used what she knew he was doing against him. She blackmailed him. Every time they got into a fight, at some point, you know, it got to where she would just call me. Darby Lynn, come here. I knew when they were fighting, if she called me, she was going to ask me if he was touching me again. And he always was, you know. And she got anything she wanted because she held that over his head. And that worked for a long time, and he got very blatant about it. He was doing it every day. And then he did say something to me in front of Sherry Kent, and she ran home. He didn't know she was standing there, and she heard what he said, and she went home and told her mom. And her mom came over, and she and Mom went in the bedroom, and they talked for a long time. And shortly after that, we moved to Oregon. You know, it never stopped. Actually, when we lived in Oregon, it didn't happen there because of the way our bedrooms were. That was the only sleep I really got as a child. And even when Mom moved Regina in with us, she was sleeping on the top bunk, and he was coming through my window in the night. When he would come home from Page, he would pull his truck up to my bedroom window at the trailer there, and he would crawl in, and I would wake up, he would be fingering me, touching my breast. You know, it was so humiliating. I hated it. And I remember Todd telling me, "Why are you such a bitch every time Dad comes home?" I never told him. I was so conditioned not to tell them. Mom always said, "Don't tell your brothers." We would be fighting, and Mom would call me into the room, and she would say, "Now don't you say anything to your brothers." And I would tell her, "I'm not going to." She drilled it into me not to ever tell them. And I never did. It's awful. But it is not my fault that Dad did those things. That is his responsibility. He was the adult. He knew I did not want him to do that. When I was 4, when I was 5, when I was 6, when I was 7, when I was 8, when I was 9. When they separated, when they put us in the living room and told us all they were going to get separated, it was because he had gotten caught. Then Mom said to me, if you would just stay away from him, none of this would happen. I was only 9 years old. And then they got back together, and Mom got her ceramic shop. And Dad got a vasectomy, and I lost my virginity. Mom used to say, why are you walking around with like you got a corn cob up your ass? You look like Cheyenne Owens. Because Dad went from licking me to fucking me. He was coming in my mouth all the time. It was awful. It was always quick, too. Just a few seconds, that's all it took. He'd unzip his pants, put my head down there, push it down my throat and come and push me away. Walk away zipping his pants up. Every day. It was awful. I never told my brothers. I never told anybody. The only reason that Dad got in trouble about Loma Linda, he didn't get in much trouble. But my friends walked in and caught him in my bed. He was laying in bed with me naked. He had had sex with me. And he ran away. He ran away. And they woke me up and said, what was your dad doing in your bed? I was speechless. And they took me and they put me in their friend's van and we drove away and they put me in their mom's little travel trailer and they left me there. They said that their mom was going to be home that afternoon to just wait there till she got home. And they never came back until they got out of school that day. And they told me that Dad was driving up and down the road looking for me. And I had slept all that time. I must have been in shock. And then they went back inside the house, and I went back to sleep, and the next thing I woke up with a state trooper shining a flashlight in my face, telling me to get up and come inside. And when I went inside the house, there was Dad standing there with another state trooper, and they let me get a drink of water, and then they sent me home with Dad. And when he got me home, he pushed me down on the bed, and he grabbed me by the ankle, and he beat me the fuck up with his belt. He held my foot and he just beat me until his arm was sore. And he told me to get my sack with my clothes and get in the truck, because Mom was going to meet us in Globe. And I was 14 years old, 3 weeks after my 14th birthday. And when we got in the truck, Dad said, just do me a favor and tell your mom you lied. And I said, about what? Because I hadn't talked to anyone. And when we got to Globe, he said to my mom right in front of me, don't be too hard on her, Nellie, she's just a kid. And I was so lost. Mom didn't even ask me what happened. She just told me to shut up. Sit there, and we would be home within an hour. And I just cried all the way home. She was pissed off at me. She never said a word. And then 2 weeks later, she put me in Palo Verde Mental Hospital in Tucson. She never talked to me about it. She never sat down with me and asked me if I needed that. She just did it. I felt very betrayed. I felt very lost. And I missed my brothers. All I wanted was to see them. To have my dog. My little dog, Tiger. When she brought me home, 2 months after I had been in there, on a pass, as we pull in the driveway, there's my dog dead in the driveway. hit by a car. And I gave her the excuse to just drug me up with a Thorazine pill for the rest of my stay and Christmas. And then I never saw her again until she came and got me out. That was about 3 or 4 months later. And she told me, the insurance is up. Do you think you can act right if you could come home? And I was so homesick, I thought she had left me there forever. She would call once in a while, but she wouldn't talk very long. A few seconds. When I got back home, I was very grateful to be home. I didn't want to do anything wrong.